Well, the United Nations Special Envoy for Syria, Staffan de Mistura, renewed his urgent call for a ceasefire to stop both the horrific bombing of Eastern Ghouta and mortar shelling on Damascus. He also stressed the need for immediate and unhindered humanitarian access to those areas. He also said Russia, Iran, and Turkey should meet urgently to reinstall the Astana Agreement's de-escalation zones. TRT World's editor-at-large Ahmed Al-Barai joins me now in the studio for some further analysis. So we have de Mistura actually deferring to Russia, Iran, and Turkey to reactivate these de-escalation zones, but they aren't exactly one cohesive unit in this context because Russia has indicated clearly it won't even back a 30-day ceasefire up for vote now at the Security Council.
Andrea, it's tragically apparent now that the demise of Daesh didn't lead to any peace talks. Everybody was optimistic that in case Daesh is defeated, we're going to have peaceful negotiation. The regime and the opposition, the three main guarantors, are going to find a way to end the ongoing carnage on civilians. But unfortunately, this didn't happen. The regime and his backers, they exploited the degrading of the terrorist group to start to unleash this kind of new vicious circle of violence, of unprecedented massacre against civilians in Eastern Ghouta. No food, besieged for more than 5 years. The children, the malnutrition, the UN, the UNICEF is speaking about unprecedented humanitarian catastrophe, and so far de Mistura is asking for the three guarantors to find a way for this. Now, the Russians and the Iranians, it seems that they are on board with the regime. They want to clear the surrounding of the capital, the presidential capital, the presidential palace of Bashar al-Assad in Damascus, and Eastern Ghouta is very close, though the opposition proposed that we are going to withdraw the HTS. That is one part of the rebel groups inside Eastern Ghouta. But the Russians, they said, either you all evacuate the city or the bombardment will go on and the civilians are going to pay the highest price.
Okay. HTS, just for our viewers' sake, is Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, which is an al-Qaeda affiliate on the ground in Syria. But let me ask you, I mean, should anyone be realistically looking at the United Nations Security Council to help resolve any part of the Syrian conflict?
The UN has particularly been impotent, complete paralysis and inaction to save these people a humanitarian corridor in Madaya, in Hems, in different parts, now in Eastern Ghouta. They say, the United Nations, they say that at least 400,000 people have been besieged for more than 5 years, and they were not able to offer them any kind of help. The UN Secretary General said it's a hell on earth. The UNICEF stated in a blank statement that words are out and we cannot describe the humanitarian conditions on the ground. People are fed up of this because I can condemn, you can condemn, but we need the international community, which seems either unable, and they have to say that we are unable to solve this, or unwilling to, like what Thomas Friedman wrote recently for the New York Times, where he said nobody in Syria is interested in ending the ongoing conflict, because if you fix it, it means you own it, you have to fix it, you have to repair, to reconstruct Syria, and nobody wants to pay this price. That's why they rent it, and the fighting is still ongoing. You have to be ready to hear more about carnage, bloodshed, and more killing in Syria for the coming few days, because it seems that the political will of the international community, as well as the regional powers involved in the fight, are not mature enough to end the ongoing violence.
Okay, Ahmed, we'll leave it there for now. Thanks so much, as always, for coming in.